This is the intersection of Spadina and Nassau. Traffic control signal number 278 in Toronto. And this is a pretty typical intersection along the Spadina streetcar, and pretty similar to others along other median streetcar lines in Toronto, such as St. Clair and the Queensway. It's got one particularly unusual feature, but I'll get to that in a second. But just to go through the cycle, it starts with an LPI for Nassau, and that makes a lot of sense because everyone coming off Nassau is going to be turning across Pedestrian, so that's definitely a good place to put an LPI. However, the way they implement the LPI is pretty stupid, actually, as I'll show in a second. So Nassau is one way outward, so no cars can turn into Nassau from any direction. However, there are left turn phases in both directions to allow cars to do a U-turn. So in a second we'll see, I believe, one direction. Oh, actually. So interestingly, that car failed to trigger. I think it's using induction loops, so I guess maybe they were just too late. Anyway, there is a left turn phase. And this intersection theoretically has TSP, transit signal priority. So there is a streetcar sitting there at the stop. It's been sitting there for a while, so it should, in principle, be extending the green light. However, in walk, as you can see, the flashing and walk started anyway. And just now, the streetcar is starting to move. So at this point, we're holding the green in solid don't walk. The streetcar would have gotten through, but it was either the TSP is disabled, or it was, for one reason or another, it didn't extend the green, or maybe it did extend the green and it just took longer than the 30-second maximum extension to get here. So here's the detector. It's located in the previous stop, which is the southbound stop at College, right in line with the stop marker. It's interesting because location where some streetcars might hit it while they're stopping and others might not. So this might already be part of the issue. Generally, you should have it either triggered by all the streetcars serving the stop here, or none of them. Not just randomly some of them, and some of the, depending on where they exactly stop relative to the stop marker. Now, I think the intention is that all of them are supposed to trigger it because the intersection is extending in green and walk for 30 seconds. And we're currently 170 meters from the stop line, which is a lot less than 30 seconds of travel time. Yeah, so the intent is to have a travel time of around 27 seconds because it's a 7-second flash and note walk and a 30-second extension, but about 10 under to make sure that the streetcar doesn't miss it if it takes a bit longer. As of the time of recording, it's currently December 2025. They have not yet installed phase rotation, so they're planning to install. So what that'll do is, so in this situation right here, where you have a streetcar waiting, it will change the order of the signal phases, so that the streetcar gets. So right now, the left turn's getting its, or U-turn's getting its light. They'll change the order, so the streetcar phase goes first in this situation where there's a streetcar waiting. So that'll be great. Although it's important to note that in that situation, this other streetcar coming the other direction would have increased the delay for it. Because you can't just keep postponing the left turn phase forever. You have to serve it eventually. And you can only postpone it once. So there's a couple reasons that the timing is not very well thought out, and it all has to do with this pedestrian signal over here. Because as I mentioned before, this is one way outwards. There's no turns turning into this crosswalk, including it during the next phase when these guys are going to get their left turn phase. It will hold the light in don't walk, even though the only movements are that there's this car is arriving here, and they have a red light. And yet, as these guys are turning, it holds it in solid don't walk while these guys are sitting at a red light. So they're waiting for no reason. The pedestrians are waiting for no reason. The other part that's kind of stupid about this timing is when it starts to count down the pedestrian signal, the same pedestrian signal here. Because, as you recall, there's a leading pedestrian interval. So at the end of this solid don't walk, you still have to wait through another 3 seconds of amber, 3.5 seconds of all red, and 5 seconds of leading pedestrian interval before that car actually gets a green light. And as you can see, this crosswalk is only a few meters wide. So it only takes a few seconds to cross. It certainly doesn't take all of that time. So in fact, the end of the pedestrian phase is so far off from the time when you actually need to stop walking that you can actually start walking after it counts down to 0 and still get it fully across the street before the cars get their green light, as I will demonstrate in this next cycle. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. I can start crossing. And then here it's the leading pedestrian interval. Fully crossed. And now, with several seconds to spare, the light finally turns to green for those cars who are actually conflicting with this crosswalk. And some people figure out that this is a completely pointless don't walk light, and it gets the obedience that you would expect for a nonsensical indication. And then same deal again during the left turn phase, which is right now. There's no reason not to walk because, as you can see, the cars still have a red light on this side of the street. Interestingly, the way you solve this problem is by moving this detector just another couple meters further, such that it's just after the stop, so the travel time is whatever that number is that's on screen. And you also change that walk light down at Spadina so that the flashing don't walk starts at the same time that the streetcar signal turns to yellow. So as you recall, there's an LPI at the intersection, which provides boatloads of time for pedestrians to clear after the light has already changed to yellow for cars. So still plenty of time for that, and you would have flashing don't walk during amber and all red.